And it's been a huge week for AI news this week. And today we're going to wrap up a few of the biggest stories, including ElevenLabs, Runway. We're going to talk about how agentic commerce could be coming about. And we're going to talk about Spotify as well. Spotify is one of my favorite companies and one of my favorite products. And I've been subscribed to them for a long time, and I probably will continue to be. So we're going to talk about some of their newest announcements as well. But first, let's dive into, I think, one of the most interesting plays that is going to happen over the next 12 months is this race to become a global affiliate almost for all of the different e-commerce platforms that are out there. And Perplexity has selected PayPal to power their agentic commerce. So it could include things like the integration of PayPal's commerce solutions, enabling users to buy products or services directly in Perplexity's chat interface, which is pretty crazy. It will allow them to expand Perplexity's commerce tools to PayPal's 430 million active accounts across approximately 200 markets, and it'll create secure transactions, so leveraging PayPal's robust fraud detection and data security protocols. I actually got ChatGPT to put together how this might look. So for example, if you're looking for Apple AirPods Pro, it'll give you a bit of a rundown about what the AirPods are and why they're beneficial to you. And then there could simply be a PayPal button in that workflow, and you'd simply just check out via PayPal with a couple of clicks of a button, which is a pretty interesting play. I'm pretty sure OpenAI are starting to head that way as well, and they're looking to become almost like an affiliate for all the different things you can purchase, from travel to e-commerce, everything on Amazon and so forth as well. That's been a pretty interesting announcement. I'm super excited to see what comes from that. But the next big announcement came from ElevenLabs this week, and there's a long video here from, I guess this is the founder, introducing the SB-1 Infinite soundboard. As I watched this for the first time, I was wondering what is the play here, because, basically, if I just make this bigger, what they've created is the ability to just use basic search terms to create any type of sound, whether that's drums, animals, something from movies or TVs, any ambient type of sound, light rain, heavy rain, and so forth, all with just explaining it in keywords on the screen there. So you can see, let's just go along a little bit further. He's putting here over on the right-hand side, the sound of the rain hitting the roof on a tent. So and then the AI will then generate that. And I was thinking, how is this any different to the tools that video editors are using, where they simply just look up that sound and there's a database of probably hundreds of thousands of sounds. I know BBC, for example, have 30,000 sounds that people can use stock free. What is the long-term goal of doing this? And the one use case that I think could be interesting long-term is when AI is fully editing these videos. So I can currently transition using a couple of quick pads on this video here right now. But imagine if at the same time, as I did this, the AI would know to use a swoosh sound, for example, if you're changing scenes. Probably that could be an interesting end use case where we integrate these types of soundboarding, these AI generated sound type of methods into video editing software, so that editing can be done quite autonomously in future. So that could be one use case. I guess the other use case is it just basically becomes a search engine for any of these types of sounds. I imagine, I don't edit too many videos, but I imagine as a video editor, trying to sort your way through, hundreds of thousands of sounds in order to add them to your video can be quite frustrating. So now you can just generate them inside of ElevenLabs. So I thought that was a pretty interesting announcement this week. They seem to be, I think this is a really big leap forward. So yeah, cool things coming out of ElevenLabs, and we're going to do a proper review on ElevenLabs at a later stage. So make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. The other report that we did this week on our Instagram page was just some use cases from Runway ML. And they've got a thread here of 7 ways to use Gen 4 references. So the first one was to step inside, the use of famous artwork. So turning images into game screenshots with Runway, using famous artwork styles. The next one here is providing a visual representation of what you want from a diagram. Also then to generate a video game. So this reminds me of back in the day, Doom. I remember playing that as one of the first Microsoft DOS type games, but this is the modernized version to me. Looks quite cool. You can use it for interface design, so allowing it to conceptualize the sketch of a user interface screen grab from the image note. The next one here is to block a character in your scene. So if you want to get precise positioning for characters or objects, then that can be done now. References for interior design renders, so that's pretty interesting use case. We've got another one here for different hairstyles. I honestly think like hairstyles is a big one, especially for like hair replacement therapy type of companies. Of course, any type of hairstylist. And having somebody's real face with different hairstyles, I think I don't know why more people, I imagine there's probably some great software for that, but I think more people should do that. If you can sell the end result before you actually get someone in the chair to style their hair, then of course they're going to want to use that more. So like that's also pretty interesting. So Runway's coming a long way in terms of this creative, generative image generation, video generation type of tool. The next one I want to talk about now is one of my favorite companies ever, Spotify. I think they've done great in terms of the product that they've created, the innovations that they continue to make. And, I've tried and put some recordings up on the screen here in just a second as we go through this article. I played around with this and I do like the direction that Spotify are going. The one criticism that I have of basically their entire product, and it includes this feature here, is that the algorithm looks too closely at your old songs. So basically, let me set this up first, which is Spotify's AI DJ now lets you voice command to personalize your tunes. So I tried this. Basically, you search for your DJ. It has a little button, a little circle on the bottom right of the screen. You hold that down, and then you can voice command to the DJ to curate a new playlist based on whatever type of mood you describe. And now I found that it only allows maybe 10 seconds of words, maybe less. So you can't really go too far into depth, but it then will curate a playlist for you based on that vibe. And if you don't like it, then you can go back in again and ask it to change a few different things. And that's exactly what I did. And it came up with a pretty decent playlist. But what I find with a lot of the playlists that Spotify create in general is that the algorithm looks heavily into what you're already listening to, and it finds similar songs. So the amount of times that I'm trying to create a brand new playlist of songs I've not heard of, and then half the songs are actually songs that I play all the time. So if they could figure out how to have more options for us to select, do you want it to follow your current songs, or do you want like a completely brand new slate? I'd love for that type of feature. But again, Spotify, this is, the latest AI product that they have. I also played around with the AI where you type in the AI to generate a new playlist for you as well. So they're just really building in some great features into Spotify. So they've been the big announcements this week. But before I do move on, I really want to dive into Gemini 2.5 and the video understanding that came out just over a week ago. And I see so many really great use cases for this as it gets better. So they're combining video and code with Gemini 2.5, which is pretty cool. And there's a really great video here. I don't even have it, of a tree, how it turns a tree into code. I think that's interesting because of the animations that can happen. Maybe it will come up in this section here in just a second. But there's some really great animations that can be created using what it sees in the video and then creating the code behind it. So that's quite cool. But this retrieving and describing moments from videos, this is going to save so many people so much time. Now, the obvious ones are auto chapters for all of your videos, all of your any type of video that you create essentially, which is very cool. But there's a lot of use cases inside of businesses. For example, we had someone come to us who does education and has a training program to get product managers inside of big tech companies. And part of their services is that they review their resume, they review like an interview, practice interview, and we were building out some workflows and AI automation workflows to help them take their training data and their recordings and merge them so that AI could do the first draft of the reviews and so forth, so they didn't have to have team members in there as to what they were doing previously. And then the next step on that was going to be, how can we then review the interview process as well to see how they're interviewing? And we were just going to do it based off transcripts, which is great to see that the spoken word or the transcript of the interview is correct. That's 80% of it, right? But there's also then your tonality and how confident you sound and all of those types of things. And I think that's where Gemini is going to become really beneficial, is doing a lot of the analysis inside of sales teams, inside of, review teams, coaches, all of that inside businesses. And they're just going to be so much better than any person. They'll understand the tonality, the transcript, the way that it's laid out, how confident they sound. So all of this is going to come from these types of models that Gemini are putting together, which is pretty cool. So I'm very excited to see where Gemini take this. Honestly, they've flown under the radar this whole time. Like, even I can admit to myself that we don't use Gemini nearly as much as what I probably think I should. But anytime I do use it recently, I'm blown away by how good it is. So very interesting to see how Google plays this long term and how Gemini goes. So they've been the big news announcements in AI this week. If you do want more, we're going to be doing this every week. Plus, we have a bunch of tool reviews coming up moving forward on this channel. So make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.